Hi, this is your host, Jackie Greggs, and thank you all so much for joining us on this awareness podcast today. Today, Neda Boin has joined me to talk about her latest CD project, Remember You're Dreaming, just released in December. So let me tell you a little bit more about Neda before we get started. She is an award-winning singer, songwriter who uses music as a tool to remember the love we truly are. Now I could stop right there because that's just beautiful. If you're going to use music, use it as a tool for love, right? And to remember who we are. She also started writing songs from when she was a little kid, and then learned how music was a great way to communicate her message. When she was 17, she wrote a song about HIV and AIDS, which brought her to go to Kenya. There, she performed in slums and orphanages, and even with the Maasai tribe. The year after that, she went to India and to investigate child prostitution and share her song about women's rights. Again, a few years later after that, she hitchhiked from the Netherlands all the way down to South Africa, which we got to talk about. But she did so to raise awareness around topics such as child labor and gender equality, education, and sustainable farming. She came back and started giving workshops in juvenile prisons, which she still does to this day with great passion, I understand. And Neda has released several CDs. When Lambs Become Lions, which came out in 2014. The Light Has Come in 2018. That one was released. And then her most recent project, Remember You're Dreaming, which came out December 12th, 2021. And we're going to get an opportunity to really talk about that today. So welcome. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much, Jackie. So lovely meeting you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And you are joining us from where?
I'm joining you today from Rotterdam, where I'm currently based since I was 18, actually. That's
Beautiful,
a really cool town in the Netherlands.
beautiful, beautiful. Would love to visit there one day. You never know.
Yeah, come. You're always welcome.
Wonderful. And I'm coming to you from New Jersey.
Awesome.
So if you've never been in New Jersey, you've got a place to stay. All right, I'm already opening up the doors for you.
Awesome.
Um, and so let's talk a little bit. I know I gave people a little bit of a background about your singing, but talk a little bit about how you got started, and then growing into becoming a professional singer, and you've been
Right.
writing music and you play the piano. So talk a little bit about how you got started.
Right. Well, for me, it never really was a moment where I thought like, oh, I want to be a professional singer. Like it was as long as I can remember, I always wanted to sing. Like that was always my thing. So I never was like one of the people that was really searching for like what is my purpose here. The shift did really happen. You know, you mentioned like all the work that I did in Africa and India and all of those projects when I was younger. I remember like probably my first song ever that I wrote when I was just a little kid was about people needing to stop smoking. I was this little kid and I saw my dad smoke and my brothers and sisters and I wrote this song. I must have been like maybe 7, 8 years old, and it was about how people should stop smoking. And like all the songs after that, especially my teenage years, the song that got me to tour through Africa, it was all about really wanting to change the world. And this was before A Course in Miracles came on my path. And when A Course came, I started to shift more to realizing how I needed to change my mind and my thinking first, and how the suffering that I saw in the world was also a reflection of my own internal war that was going on. Which doesn't mean, of course, to say that we can't show up in the world anymore. That we just need to say, that's all an illusion. I mean, I'm still doing a lot of that work, and even after the Course in Miracles came on my path, I did a lot of those projects, but it was from a completely different state of mind. Instead of being this sort of like, oh, I'm going to save other people, it became now this perception of like really trying to practice this true empathy, knowing like, no, everybody is my equal, everybody is my brother and sister, and just using music as a tool to communicate, and later on, just before I was on The Voice of Holland, all of these chorus songs started to pour through, and within 2 weeks, I had a whole stack of chorus songs, and giving into that, like that was a whole nother journey that kind of got me where I am today, where in the beginning I thought like, oh my God, I can't sing about God. I had really such forgiveness opportunities with just my associations with those words. And I never sang about God, and I never intended to sing about God. But then these chorus songs, what I call them, just started to pour through, which eventually turned into my first album, The Light Has Come. And it really took me being on that show, The Voice, just that extreme scene, spectacle of that fame and the glitter and the glamour, to actually realize, like I want my singing to serve a deeper purpose than just getting the most votes and getting, the most, popularity. So it was a deep journey of like surrendering to that, and a lot of that healing is actually on this album that I just released, Remember You're Dreaming. Like Remember You're Dreaming is really sharing my own story. It's still got a lot of these inspirations from a course in it, and if you're a course student, you'll recognize a lot of sentences throughout the songs that I literally took from workbook lessons or other parts of the course. But they really honestly describe my own journey from fear to love, and now I'm happy to serve in this way. And
Well, you touched on a couple of things, but let me step back a little bit too, because I think for people who are listening, I will say this, and this is Jackie talking. You don't, most people, it's interesting. I'll say this. The way that I came to A Course in Miracles was part of my path, right? And I would say I was ready for it when I came to it. Does that make sense?
Sure. When it came to you.
Right, exactly. I was ready for it. Step back for a little bit and tell me how you came to the course, or how the course came to you.
Right. Well, I was about, I think I first need to go to when I was 18, and I moved out of my parents' house, and I moved to Rotterdam, where I'm living right now, and living on my own, it just really opened up this spiritual search inside of me, which it already was, was already as a kid very curious and open, and my mom, was a big teacher for me as well, and taught me to meditate on a younger age. But as soon as I lived on my own, it really started to open up inside of me to more question things and really see like, who am I actually, and what did I just take from my parents without actually feeling that that's how I feel and how I look at things as well, So I started to become very open for everything, and I really just saw the whole spiritual stuff like a big buffet, like I would go to the library and to like the bookshops like almost every day and just be fascinated with anything on spirituality, whether it was like hand reading or astrology or whatever it was, some sort of spiritual stuff. I was in it, and I was just taking it all in. And I think I was 19 when Donald Neil Walsh's book, what's it called again? Conversations with God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I told you, I had a very, allergy towards the words God. And I even remember reading this book with a magazine around it if I was like in the metro, because it had really big on the cover. It said Conversations with God, really big letters. And I didn't want people to think like, oh, look at that religious girl reading this Bible book or something. I had such, negative associations with that, a lot of shame, and didn't want to have anything to do with that. But still, this book really called me. And I remember that the way that God was described there, the energy that was coming through that book of who God was, touched me so deeply. You know, it really awakened something inside of me, and I just started to cry, you know, when I got in touch with that energy. It felt like this energy, this being that I didn't even know I missed so much. You know, I didn't even know that. And there's a song on my new album right now, maybe you heard it already, called Homesick.
Yes.
I don't know if you check it.
I have.
So that song, when I was a kid, I used to be homesick a lot. And it would happen when I would go and sleep at other, you know, kids' houses, but it would also happen a lot when I was home. Like, I would be in my own home, in my own bed, and I would have this deep sense of being homesick, and I couldn't explain it. And I would be like, why am I homesick? I'm home. You know, it's literally that song, I'm home, but I'm homesick. And only later I realized, like, I was homesick to, you know, my true home, to, you know, my relationship with God, to where I truly come from, which is not this house where I'm brought up in, you know. So this book sort of brought me back in touch to that, like, oh yes, I was missing that, and I didn't even know really what it was. And so it opened up something inside of me. And as soon as I was done with all of his books, because he had a lot of books, I like went through all of his books. And then I felt like, okay, that's enough with Neil there. And it was as if he, you know, brought me to the next one, which was Return to Love from Marianne Williamson. And I even remember that he wrote that foreword of the book that I picked up in the library. Like, I read the foreword. I thought like, oh, that's a nice foreword. And then I saw his name on the bottom, and it was just so cool, you know, feeling as if he, you know, was like, you're done with my books now, and you're ready for Marianne. And the moment I read her book and I read one of the first course quotes in there, I was like, oh my God, what is this? You know, like those course quotes, they just made my whole body just tingle with this energy. And I was like, whatever she's talking about and whatever this quote comes from, I need to like go directly to that book. I don't want to read another book about that book. I want to go directly to that book.
Right.
So I went back to the library, and there it was. You know, there were 2 copies, big blue golden letters. I pulled it out of the shelf, and I remember just hugging it, literally hugging it. And I remember thinking, like, this is going to change my life. You know, this is going to change my life. And at the same time, I also picked up Byron Katie, 4 Questions to Change Your World, or change, I think that's what it called. And I read that one first because I thought, like, the course is probably going to take me a lot longer than this book.
It is a big book.
It's a big book. So even that really prepared me, you know, like her questions, they're basically in the workbook lessons. So I got very excited when I just scanned through the workbook lessons in the index, and I saw some of those lessons of my thoughts don't mean anything, and all of these things that I thought like, oh, that's what I just read from Byron Katie, you know. And that's kind of how it happened. And ever since, I never, like, that whole buffet and that search, that really stopped. It just felt like, no, this is my path. And yeah, and I always stick with it. I never burnt the book, or what people have that they throw it out, or I mean, of course, I still need to practice every day, but I always felt, that it was for me. I never, doubted that. It was always like a huge companion that I was grateful to finally, almost like I re-accepted it in my life, you know, that I already know it. I already knew the teachings, and it was like, oh yes, I welcome back my friend, you know, who comes to teach me and help me wake up.
That is so amazing. Yeah. You know, I wanted to share, there's a good friend of mine, his name is Stephen Wise. He's a singer-songwriter. He's worked with some big names in the business, you know, Stevie Wonder and big guys, right? And I interviewed him for the same show, and one of the books that he referenced was like that helped kind of like get him on the pathway was Neil Walsh's A Conversation with God, and that's like,
Mm.
okay, you're the second person who just said that. It's like Neil needs to know the impact he's having on musicians.
I know, right?
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's
Well,
amazing.
we've been talking a lot about your background and what inspired you on this project. How about we just take a listen? You choose whatever it is you want to, whatever song you want to do, and let's just listen to some of your beautiful music.
Awesome. Well, you just mentioned I Give It All to You. I really love that song as well. Yeah. Did you want me to play it live for you or
Yeah,
are you going to
you can
play
play and
it?
sing this one. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Awesome. I will.
And I'm going to mute myself.
Good. So, yeah, this song is called I Give It All to You. Um, just going to grab the album book, make sure I got all the lyrics right because, the album just came out, so I haven't played all of them so much. But it's really a beautiful song about surrender and surrendering it all, the grievances, the hurt, the pain, the past, the belief in loss. And yeah, there's a beautiful course quote in there as well.
Mhm.
That says all of my past. I think in the course officially it says all of your past, but I
Mhm.
made it all of my past, except its beauty is gone and nothing is left but a blessing. I love that sentence. It's from the text somewhere, I think. I don't think it's from the workbook lesson. I don't know. But it's such a beautiful, beautiful line. So yeah, I'll play it for you. Take my past and all my regrets. Take all my choices. I give it all to you. Take my thoughts, my fear of loss. Take all that I've been through. Yes, I give it all to you. 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 Take all my wishes and all my desires. Take all my sadness. I give it all to you. Take all my beliefs, 'cause I want to be what you would have me be. So I give it all to you. 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 All of my past, except its beauty, is gone. And nothing is left but a blessing. Oh, oh, and I give my future to the one who knows best. Yeah, I give it all to you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. That just touched my heart. Thank
Thank you.
you. Neda, that's just beautiful. You're
I would love to hear you sing that one actually.
you
I
know
think you
what?
would cover that so beautifully because I heard you sing a little bit and I
Uh-huh.
think it
Oh,
would sound
listen.
amazing if you would cover this one. I would love to hear it.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna do my best. I don't
Please.
know. I also I sing for two spiritual communities here in New Jersey on third and fourth Sundays, and I certainly have shared some of your music with folks, and they're
Hmm.
just always like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "Yeah, you guys got to check her out." Like you know, and but I have just really been spending the last couple of weeks just since you released the project just soaking it in. And that song right there
Oh.
is one of the songs that's just like,
Hmm.
yes, there's nothing to hold on to, right? Just give it up,
Right.
all of it.
Yeah, give it all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier, you had tried out for, or you were on what is it, The Voice of
The
Holland?
voice. Yeah.
Yeah. So you and we share a similar thing there because I had auditioned for, what was it, the America's Got Talent in New
Mm.
York. I want to say it
Wow.
was last year. I mean, you know what? 2020 is like such a blur. Every time I try
Right.
to think of something in 2020, I'm like, did that happen? I don't know.
Right.
But so yeah, and even prior to that, something you mentioned about, the experience of being, the big Hollywood production fame type of thing that goes on,
Right.
um, and being on the spiritual path. It's like you can see it is like a shadow, right? Because what you're experiencing is so much glitz and glam to it,
For sure.
and that the more how would I say it, the more drama you can bring to it, the more they like
The
you.
better. Yeah, of course.
The more you're the one. And
Of
it
course.
for me, it wasn't so much about the music and singing and expression. It was something else.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard that a little bit. You didn't say that directly, but I kind of felt that, and it made me think about the
Mm.
experience I had with that as well. But the name of this show is called Come Empty. And
Mm.
that song you just did, I Give It All to You, fits like a glove around
Yeah.
coming
Wow.
empty to stuff because uh, my experience, and when I think about coming empty, it is, and I love saying that to remind myself
Mm-hmm.
to let it all go.
Yep.
And coming empty is being okay with how things are, whatever it is, right? Not needing
Mm-hmm.
to grab or hold on to the past, try to reach for the future, but being okay with whatever is, because whatever is, right? It is this very moment that we have. It is, and it's perfect. The only time it's not perfect is when we listen to that. I want this. I want that. This should be this way.
Yeah.
It should be that way. So
Yeah,
when
the
you
interpretation is not perfect, right?
absolutely right, exactly. And so, when you think about your music, how do you come to your music? Or and when I say your music, I know it's the way God expresses through you. How do you come to it? What do you
Yeah, yeah, I'd say for sure from that silence, from that emptying. I truly believe, that every song that ever needs to be written is already there. It's just really looking for a vessel to come through. I think it's just like the chorus. It's not Helen that wrote it; she was a vessel to receive that chorus, and I think that goes for everything. Everything that needs to be created, it's already there, and you mentioned prison, and so what I do there is that I write songs with the prisoners, and most of the times, they want to rap, or sometimes nowadays they want to sing. If I have autotune, I have autotune, then they're like, okay, we can also sing if you put on the autotune, crank it up. But a lot of times I get kids in my class, and they're like, yeah, we can only write if we're stoned, because they want to smoke weed. And they believe, they get the inspiration from the weed.
Mm.
And I always tell them, it's not, the weed doesn't have some magical power. The songs are already there, and the only thing that the weed might do is quiet all the other noise, so you can actually hear the inspiration that is already there. But the same thing you can do by meditating, by training your mind. You don't need that drug to do that. So the same goes for me with songs. I never really go and sit and like, oh, I'm gonna write a song now. It's always that I feel the inspiration. I feel a spark in my heart. I feel something's moving through me, and then I just know, like, okay, it's time. It's almost like you're gonna deliver a baby. It's like, okay, it's time. There's someone that wants to come through, and the more I practice to still my mind, and I think everybody can practice this, the easier it is to receive that inner voice, that inner guidance. Actually, my name also means inner voice, so it's kind of funny in that sense. But yeah, we can really train that to silence our mind and the chit chat, the what we call like the monkey mind, right? And that is just talking about every and anything, and come more with that attitude of openness, stillness, handing the day over, and be like, what do you want for me today? What would be in the highest good of me and everyone? And more and more, your life will start to be led by this divine spirit, by this divine love, instead of you trying to plan everything out and trying to make sure that it will all work out great. Now it becomes more of, I just want to serve, like the Course says, I'm only here to be truly helpful. Like everything else, it will be arranged through me. So it's the same for me with writing songs, and I think it can be the same with whatever you're doing, whether it's, picking up your kids from school, driving, cooking, or whatever project you're working on. We can always practice to step back and like undo the doer, thinking that I'm the one doing it, and come from our past learnings. I could come from this. Well, I'm a singer. I went to school for singing. I know what I'm doing. And I don't think I would really write that good of a song if I would come from that, But when I step back and I'm like, okay, use me. I want to be used, whether it's with, writing a song or whatever project I'm doing, or even going to a family get together, whatever. If the attitude is like, I'm only here to serve, I'm only here to be truly helpful, and I'm open to seeing whatever way that wants to, unfold. But I feel life becomes a lot more magical and a lot more purposeful when I don't make any exceptions with what I'm handing over to God. You know what I'm saying? Like, I give it all to you. The song is saying, not saying like, okay, I give this to you, but this I'm keeping for myself.
Exactly.
Right? The Course also says like this Course is believed entirely or not at all.
Exactly.
And it doesn't make any exceptions. It always goes for everything.
Absolutely.
It uses the words, never and always a lot. It's like very absolute. And I kind of love that, because then it's also clear, then there's no, like in society we always have exceptions for everything. Like you can do this, but if you're like there's loopholes, and there's always, but with the Course there's no loopholes. It's exactly as it is. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Boom. Nothing, nothing real can be. It doesn't say, this and this and this can be threatened, and this and this and this doesn't exist. It's very clear.
No vagueness there. Nothing vague about that.
Exactly. And I love that, because the ego likes the unclarity, right? It likes to like the vagueness, and so that it can sort of like move something. And I mean, like, it still happens. The ego will do the Course with us,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, it will do. It will forgive, and it will do all these things with us. And then the Course calls it forgiveness to destroy. So the ego will join us in anything. It can use anything, for its own benefit. But if you really read the course, that it's not really possible to debate with what
That's
it's
right.
about. It's very absolute,
Hmm.
and that it's just all about no, you're you're still innocent. Whatever you think you did, wherever you are an
Exactly.
innocent child of God. You're already home, and accepting that is the only responsibility. Basically, that's the journey back
Exactly.
home. Accepting who you truly are, accepting the light and love that you truly are.
Yes. You said something that I think is so important. And I remembered when I first, like you, when I first started, when I read A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson, and I started listening to a lot of her lectures, and she has this prayer, and you just pretty much said that prayer about, kind of the process you use, that you asked to be that vessel through which all of this come through. Everything that you sing, every chord you're playing, the all of it is like how we allow uh the creator, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, to move through us, right? And do what it wants to do. And she used to have this prayer where she says, um, uh, what would you have me, and asking, what would you have me do? What would you have me say, and
Mm.
to whom?
Mm-hmm.
How may I serve you today? And
Yes.
those are such a powerful words and powerful way to walk in the world. It's a powerful way to be, because you know
Mm-hmm.
that
For sure.
you're asking for that higher intelligence to be present, and to move you and speak through you. So when you open up your mouth and you say something, something higher of a higher intelligence will come out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and you just reminded me of that when you shared that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, that is directly from the course as well, and that prayer, I'm only here to be truly helpful. I think that was given to Bill Thetford, the one who worked together with Helen Schuckman and who typed out all of her scribings, and he asked for this prayer when he had to give a talk for a bunch of doctors, I think the story was, and he was a psychologist, and he was very nervous of speaking for all of these doctors, and he was thinking like, how am I gonna do that? And he asked for this prayer,
Mhm.
and I actually made I put it on a melody. Let me see if I yeah, I could play it for you if you want.
Please, please.
So this is that prayer of I'm only here to be truly helpful, and that was the prayer that was given to him. It was like, don't worry about what to say or what to do, because he who sends you will direct you, and you're just here to be truly helpful, which means that you're just here to remember that you're love and that everyone else is love, and that's how you're going to serve, and that's your purpose with everything, whether you're going to get groceries or you go into your work or you're going into a meeting where the ego always wants to get something and it has
Mhm.
this goal of getting. Here comes this prayer of like, no, I'm not actually here to get groceries. I'm actually here to, be truly helpful and to remember that I'm
Yes.
love and to teach that everyone else is love. And you don't need to do that by saying anything, to teach is to demonstrate. You don't have to go around and
Mhm.
grab everyone and say, don't you know you're love? It's
Please don't do that.
please don't do that. No, don't do it, Um, it's this attitude, right? It's this when
Yeah.
you remember that for yourself and you look with, through that perception to the world and to everyone else that you meet. That's healing in and of itself already. So I have this prayer actually above my bed. I had someone painted above my bed, and I wake up with this prayer, every day to just
Beautiful.
remind me of my purpose. So it goes like this. I only here to be truly helpful, and I here to represent Him who sent me, and I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do. say or what to do. For he who sent me will direct me. Oh, yes, he will. And I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal. I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal.
Oh my God. As the young people say, OMG. That is so beautiful.
Yeah,
Now,
such a beautiful prayer.
it is such a beautiful prayer, and it just, I went somewhere. Okay, let me come back. So Neda, is that song on any of your projects, or is that something that you're working
It's
on?
not. I do have it on my YouTube channel, so people can
Okay.
check it. I think it's called like Daily Prayer, and it has
Uh-huh.
the name "I'm Only Here to Be Truly Helpful" behind
I'm
of
over
it,
here to
so
be truly helpful.
you can listen it
Excellent.
there for free.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I will definitely do that. There are a couple of other songs I wanted to talk about. You know, we Remember You're Dreaming, right? You have Mike Love. I don't know who that is, but can you tell us a little bit about that collaboration?
Oh yeah, he's just so amazing. He's a Hawaiian reggae singer.
Okay.
And I wrote that song a few years ago. Actually, just wrote a post about it on Instagram. So if you're listening, follow me on Instagram. I share a lot of these stories, behind the scenes stories. And I wrote that song actually while I was finishing up, or like at the end of my last album, The Light Has Come. As I said, most of the songs on this album, Remember You're Dreaming, really come from the time of making the other album, and like the whole transformation process, the whole journey from fear to love that I was going through. So a
Mhm.
lot of those songs are written in that time, and this was one of those songs that I wrote. Like, it came to me at a time where I was like just super anxious about money, and I had to pay for the Light Has Come, the recordings,
Mhm.
and I thought I didn't have the money. I really still had to learn about divine providence. Like, now all of these things, they come so much more easier to me, because I learned from that last album so much about how to step back and really let the spirit lead the way. And with my
Mhm.
previous album, I really was still under the impression that I had to do things, and that I was doing it myself, and that I had to control everything,
Mhm.
which led to a lot of stressful situations. So one of those situations was, all of the stress around money. And I remember like that my ego was more into like, okay, let's just cuddle up on the couch with food and binge watch a series all day or something like that. Like, just go shut off, just basically shut off and just go into the stress. But I could feel like the gentle spirit inside of me was like, it's all good, just go outside, because I always love to get some fresh air when I'm in that state, and not stay inside. Go outside, and there was like a really lovely neighborhood garden around the corner from where I live, and I felt to go there and to just grab a cup of tea. And as I just sat down, there was a whole classroom of kids, little children, that were coming in and running into the garden. And they apparently had some sort of school assignment or something. So within like 5 minutes, the whole garden was just filled with these running and laughing and playing kids. And I was looking at that like, that's interesting. Like, here I am so stressing, and I
Mhm.
got this reflection of remember to play, remember to laugh, and to be in this innocence, and this sense of when you were a kid and you didn't worry about money and all of these grown-up stuff, right? So I heard this voice inside of me like, take a deep breath, sit
Mm.
down, my child. Why are your thoughts running so wild? And I could sense again. I always feel when there's a song coming, it kind of feels like there's this energy bubbling up inside of me. So I grabbed the receipt from my cup of tea and I started writing the song. And when I came home, I wrote the chords for it, and I already felt like, oh, this feels like a reggae song. Somehow I never wrote a reggae song before, but it just felt like, no, this needs to be a reggae song, like a fun reggae, and reminding, it's very, I don't know, it needed it to be playful. And I didn't have the feature then yet, but as I started to work more on this album, I knew like I really want to have a feature for this to bring in more of that reggae flavor. And I found Mike. I didn't know him before neither, but I found him on Spotify through some other artists. And when I heard his voice, I was just like melting. I instantly was like, oh my God, I need him on this tune. And he got very excited about the song as well. So we haven't met yet, but nowadays everything goes over the internet, online. So he recorded his part. And I mean, like, you just got to check it out. People that are listening, the way that he flows over the beat, it's just so cool. And there's a new video coming out on the 1st of January. So I don't know when you're releasing this, but it might be already out when you're releasing this. And that's how that happened. So I'm just very excited about that feature.
Yeah. He laid it down on that, right?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm feeling you, Mike. I'm feeling you.
He made me like redo my part so many times because I got a little like self-conscious because of how good he was. I was like in the beginning, like doubting myself, like, oh my God, like I need to step up my game. Like that's how much I loved his part. So yeah.
I mean, but you know what? Listen, it's like they both melt into what you did on the song and what he added. It just complements each other. It really does.
I love it too. I love it.
It really does, and it's a wonderful, wonderful song. So we've got just a few more minutes left. So Neda, I know that you have things going on in terms of upcoming events for 2022. Let's chat a little bit about some of the things I was checking out your website. You've got a retreat scheduled, a Mexico retreat. And before we even jump into that, talk a little bit about voice liberation.
Right.
We didn't really get to talk too much about it. So can you tell us about what it is and how you use it?
Right. So voice liberation is this way where we use the voice as a sort of like a super fast power vehicle to go into the unconscious mind and release unconscious blocks to the awareness of love's presence, as A Course in Miracles says, that we're not here to look for love, but that we are here to undo the blocks, that are keeping us from remembering actually that we are love. And the voice is such a powerful tool, and it has nothing to do with singing beautifully. Really nothing at all. I think even if you are trained musically, it's actually not really a benefit for this because it's harder to really let yourself go. It's actually, I think, better if you're not trained musically or professionally. But of course, for professional musicians, it's amazing as well. But it takes some time to surrender to what the power of using your voice in this way. So I'm giving free gatherings every third Sunday of the month, and people can sign up for that. It has Spanish, Greek, Dutch, and Portuguese simultaneous translations even. So even if you have people in the Spanish or Portuguese community that can't speak English well, they can join. And we come together every month for like about 2 hours from people all over the world to really get an experience of what the Course is teaching. And I think for a lot of people, it can get so mental, and very intellectual. And the music and this way of using your voice, you can even just join in silence. Like you don't even have to use your voice, because I always say, my voice is your voice, and you can always just tune in on my voice and it has the same effect. I really believe that. But it's this great way to really feel it and get in touch with unconscious patterns, emotions, and and release it. And every month, I never know what's going to happen, but it's always just so magical. And there's a few videos on my YouTube channel of those gatherings that people can check out if they want to check it out a bit. But so that's what I've been doing for the last couple of years to really deepen the course's teachings and give people an experience, a true experience of what true forgiveness is, and to really, just really go deep. And the voice can really facilitate that so beautifully. So there's retreats coming up, workshops coming up. There's a retreat in Mexico, like you said. There's still an early bird discount, I think, until January 13th or 15th or somewhere around there. So if you want to meet me, work with me in Mexico, it's going to be really, really amazing. There's a retreat in Bali.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about. Is that one still open?
That one is still open. Yeah, okay. We do need to check with, COVID and stuff to make sure that it will go through. So that's still a little bit like, okay, what's going to happen?
Right.
But we do still have a few slots open. There will also be a weekend in Sweden, maybe a little bit further for people in the States. But there's lots of cool stuff coming up. And I'm actually planning to do like a house concert tour in the States in the summer. So if people are listening and they're like, I want you to do a concert in my backyard or in my house, you can always let me know. Send me an email.
All right. You got to let me know about that.
Yeah,
seriously,
I will. I will.
I have a lot of woods behind my house right now, and it could be a beautiful concert here. I'd love that. Oh, we're going to talk about that. See how we can make that happen. And so, Neda, you shared different things that are coming up. I just want to make sure that people know how to get in touch with you. If you want to sign up it's every third Sunday you do the Voice Liberation, right? Yes. So people can go to your website.
Yeah, they can just go to nedaboin.com/events and you'll see a registration form there for Zoom. And it's free. Donations are, of course, appreciated to be able to keep it free. But yeah, you're very much welcome to come.
Absolutely. And if folks want to hear your music, you are on all of the music, streaming platforms, your Spotify, Amazon Music. You have a YouTube channel. People can access your music online.
Sure. Just for sure. Everywhere. And I do want to say that if you go to my website, I created a book that goes with the music that I'm like super, super, super happy and this is like my little baby, and it has artworks on every song has a different, let me get it going, like this is from I Give It All to You. Every song has a different piece of art, but there are also like mystical poems in there, all about the theme of remember your dreaming, waking up. There's this one. I love this one from Razuli. Well, you can't really see it so good over the camera. This is one of my favorite ones.
Oh yeah, I did see that online. And I haven't had a chance to get the book yet. I can't wait to get it.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. There's also like a forgiveness exercise. There's creative writing exercises, little questions, little notes pages with Course in Miracles quotes. All the Course in Miracles quotes also have that theme of, remember your dreaming, awakening. And just as a bonus, because I know a lot of people don't have CDs, but the physical CD is actually in the back.
Okay, cool.
So if you do still have a CD player, you can get it. But it's really about the book. I wanted to create something that even if you don't have a CD player, that this is still just, I love to have something visual as well and something that you can hold, and so I really feel that came together, and there's artists from all over the world and poems from people all over the world. So it's really a collaborative little dream work.
What a beautiful
you can get that from my website, so nedaboin.com.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What a beautiful companion to the music, right? It's like
it really goes together.
Yeah, like you listen to the music and take out the book and That's beautiful. I
And the
love that.
lyrics are in there as well, so you can sing along and, really
Oh
get that,
man.
the
That's,
whole 3D, 5D,
yeah.
10D, the 10D experience. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nina. I appreciate your time, and
Uh,
please keep allowing yourself to be that channel. Yeah,
thank you,
that more and
Jackie.
more just flows through you, and because we're just so blessed to be
Mm.
on the receiving end of it.
Oh, yes. Thank
Thank you
you
so
so
much,
much.
Nina.
Thank you so much, dear Jackie, for inviting me. I had a beautiful
Absolutely.
time with you. I hope I'll meet you live.
I hope so. We
We'll
need
make
to
it
do a
happen.
concert right here in my
Sure.
backyard. We can make
I
it
would
happen.
love that. I would love that. We'll talk about it.
Absolutely. Well, take care, my
Okay.
friend.
Much love. Thank you
Much
so
love
much.
to you. Thank you.